if you're still in that technician role where it's just you doing everything and you don't have your systems or your processes in place, how long do you want to keep going on that hamster wheel? Because it's just going to get worse. The more clients you bring on, you can only max yourself out at so many hours in a day, right? So if you want to grow your business and have those higher revenue levels, you've got to build your firm out in a way that serves you so that you can keep growing and have control over everything. And I don't mean control in a bad way, but just being able to monitor everything. You've got to put the work in and make it happen, because it's not something that, just falls on your lap.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be fantastic. Happy New Year! Wow, 2020 was certainly interesting, I'll say the very least on that, but 2021 is going to be your year. It all begins with how powerfully you set yourself up for success. And with that in mind, this first episode of 2021 is going to be a treat. Our returning guest is a certified professional bookkeeper, profit strategist, creator of the Accelerate to Advisor Mastermind program, and founder of Profit First Professionals Canada. Lisa Campbell, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Michael, thanks for having me again.
It's absolutely fantastic to have you. And as always, you've been on this show several times, and our listener can listen to those episodes and learn more about your backstory there. We'll have all of those episodes listed in the show notes, of course. And recently, one of our community members asked me, Michael, I've heard Lisa on the show several times, and I'm just wondering, where does she get the time? You're the head of mentoring for the Successful Bookkeeper community. You're the owner of your own bookkeeping firm. You coach and mentor dozens of other bookkeeping firm owners. You do Profit First consulting for your business. You run Profit First Canada. Should I take a breath now? Plus, you're the single mother of 3. What gives? How are you able to do all of this?
Well, systems are key. That's the foundation of everything. And then, of course, you've got to have the right mindset, and you've got to take rapid action. You can't wait for everything to be perfect. It's just, you got to go. And of course, having the right mentors makes a huge difference.
So rapid action. Are you someone who's always taken rapid action?
No. I used to be one of those people that had to have everything perfect before I would do anything or launch anything. And I learned that you can't build things in a vacuum. You have to launch it imperfectly and see what happens.
Well, I'm looking forward to actually helping our listener really set up for this year. And I don't often timestamp podcasts because people come back, or our listener will come back and listen, days, weeks, even months, maybe even years late. Well, actually years later. We have lots of people who listen to episode 1 of this podcast 4 years ago all the time. But occasionally it just makes sense for our listener, our weekly listener. And this is one of those episodes. And for that listener, this is the Happy New Year. Welcome to 2021. I mean, hoot, hoot, hoot. I mean, everybody's probably super tired from the close off of 2020. It is the first back to work week of 2021. And so we're going to start helping our listener get ready for 2021. So we're going to really say, look, how you finish 2021 comes down to how you start 2021. And we're going to walk you through what it's going to take to finish 2021 in a way that's worth celebrating. I think it's a great place to start is with some inspiration for our listeners. The big why is this so darn important? So let's hop into our Successful Bookkeeper time machine, travel back to early 2020. Hold on, everyone. This is a bumpy ride. You work with dozens of bookkeeping firm owners, Lisa, and this is literally the work you've done with firm owners back in early 2020. And they sat there, they said, okay, how am I going to finish 2020? How did that go for them?
Oh, the transformations are huge. Our mastermind members who created their plan for 2020 at the beginning of 2020 have spent the year actually working on their goals, and they're transforming their businesses completely. You've heard me talk about how important it is for everyone to have to create an ecosystem for their business. These people have actually done it, so their business now serves them, and that's really, really important to do the work so that your business serves you and not the other way around.
So nice to hear. I mean, I always love hearing success stories. Do you have specific examples of people that you think of, here it is, the end of 2020 when we're recording this. Do you have, people in mind that you think, oh my goodness, did they ever just hit it out of the park?
Oh, yeah, there's a few of them. Can I mention names?
Please do.
Okay, so Julie Walter, she's a mastermind member. She's phenomenal. She actually took over her dad's firm. I think she worked with him for years, and they were, paper-based and nothing was automated. She has spent this entire year not only creating her ecosystem, but bringing it into basically this century, where everything is all automated and everything talks to everything else. And she's in a completely different position than she was a year ago. And I don't even think it's been a full year, but it's amazing. And there's so many other people. We've got, Jennifer Hume and Janet Mercredi, we're both solopreneurs. They now have team. So does Sarah Facio Davis. She's got team as well now. And they've built it all out in a way that they can monitor everything that's going on inside their firms and have control over everything, and so that they can focus more on what they want to do, which is really, serving their clients at that high level.
I know all of those bookkeeping business owners, and I love them all. They're wonderful people. And I also know that this was not easy for them, and it's not easy for anyone. So I think that often I will talk to owners and say, they'll be like, it's, that person over there can do it because they're that person over there. But yet I see the people who go in and say, you know what, maybe I can't do it, but I'm going to try. And they get the right help. They work with someone like yourself. And then all of a sudden it's this messy journey of probably some tears and some laughs, and then more tears and laughs. And then all of a sudden they get a breakaway and things shift. What do you say to people listening that might think, I don't know that I could go and do that, or would I want to go and build a business? It's a lot of work. It's all these different things that have to happen, have staff. What would you say to them?
Well, I would say, where are you now? Is your business serving you in a way that's making a difference in your life? If you're still in that technician role where it's just you doing everything and you don't have your systems or your processes in place, how long do you want to keep going on that hamster wheel? Because it's just going to get worse. The more clients you bring on, you can only max yourself out at so many hours in a day, right? So if you want to grow your business and have those higher revenue levels, you've got to build your firm out in a way that serves you so that you can keep growing and have control over everything. And I don't mean control in a bad way, but just being able to monitor everything. You've got to put the work in and make it happen, because it's not something that, just falls on your lap.
Absolutely. Love that. And I want to congratulate, I'm sure the people that you mentioned will be listening. I want to congratulate all of you on having the courage to actually take this on and do the work, the hard work that's required in order to really create transformation in your business, which requires transformation in yourself. The people who started out in 2020 wanting to have this new business and have all these different things literally had to transform themselves. And that can be at times a confronting experience. So congratulations to all of you for what you've done. And Lisa, let's say we help our listener today that's up for it, that wants transformation in their business, wants to see a completely different business emerge, one that gives them the things that they truly desire for their life. Let's say we help them create that for 2021.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Okay, well, let's get started. What's step one?
Oh, step one is, first and foremost, you must block time. You absolutely have to block time to make change in your business, because it's not going to happen. Like I said, it doesn't just fall in your lap and all of a sudden happen. If you're looking at your business today thinking, this is not where I want to be a year from now, you've got to set aside time and treat it like an appointment with yourself, stick to it, and use that time every week, or, several times a week or every other week, whatever it is that you've decided to do. Block the time and be diligent and actually work on the business in those time blocks.
Time blocking is one of those magical
Mhm.
things that, when done, can change the day completely.
Absolutely. I live my life with my time blocks. And people get stressed out. They think, oh, I don't know how to do it. And then they figure out how to do it. And then they don't stick to it. That's the key. You have to stick to it. I literally have the 10-minute warning that comes up on my computer before I'm about to do the next block. And I have to pay attention to it because that helps me wind down what I'm working on and knowing full well that I'm working on something else that's very important in the next block.
Beautiful. Now, we have resources, and many people have talked about time blocking. If you go into the Successful Bookkeeper community portal and you look up time blocking, you'll find something there that will help you get an understanding of what this is. Lisa, did you always time block?
No. I started time blocking a few years ago, and it makes all the difference because, everybody talks about how, they're working day in and day out and nothing ever seems to get done. When you actually make the effort to set up your time blocks and you follow them like a specific schedule, you actually get everything that you need done. It actually happens. It's amazing.
It is amazing. And often when we think of transforming a business in a year from now, how could one get there without time blocking, really?
Exactly. Yeah.
It's not important. It's absolutely critical. And do not pass go until you've started to time block in your calendar. And that would be, I remember speaking about this at the QuickBooks Connect in San Jose, one of the 10 things that the most successful bookkeepers will be doing in 2020. Well, when I did that talk, I didn't realize what was going to really happen in 2020 with this whole thing. But the people, it's still, if I went back, I actually recently looked at the top 10 things, and I channeled people like yourself, right? I said, well, what would Lisa Campbell be doing in 2020? And one of them was time blocking. And look, pandemic or not, time blocking, the people who do it are more successful, and anyone has access to this technology. It's called a calendar,
yeah,
right?
It's so easy.
It's so easy. So it's critical. You must embrace this. It will change not only your business, it'll change your life, and you're going to get a heck of a lot more done. So I love step one.
Mm-hmm.
Where from here?
Well, the next thing you want to look at is, where do you want to be at the end of 2021? What do you want your life to look like compared to where it is now, right? So whatever that is, maybe you want to bump into an advisor role, maybe you want to build out a team, maybe you want to, franchise your business, whatever it is that you want to do. Look at what that is, and then we need to look at how are we actually going to get there? Because if you just have this random goal in your head, one day I want to make an extra 100,000, or one day I want to have a team, the one day thing doesn't work. So establish in your mind, write it down. Where do you want to be a year from now? Very, very important to do that, because it's a lot easier to get somewhere when you know where you're going, right? And what I would say to that is no matter where you want to go, even if you're not 100% sure what it is that you want to build out, the single most important thing that you can do is systemize what you're doing now. With even if it's just with you, just all by yourself, you don't even have a goal of having a team. That was me years ago. No idea that I wanted to build out a team. And I systemized, and that's what put me on the trajectory to be able to do whatever it is I want to do in this business. So very, very important.
So important. Now, I'm sitting here listening and I'm thinking to myself, this doesn't sound very complicated, right? You time block, you figure out where you want to be. Why is everyone not totally successful?
I think a lot of it is because people don't know the direction. We hear talk of, I have to change my pricing structure, I have to change my workflow, I need to do this, that, and the other thing, but there's no real map. Do this and then do that and then do that, right? So this is why I mentioned the single most important thing anybody at any position can do, even if it's just you and you're just starting out. Go and systemize, get the pure bookkeeping system, implement that, and just follow it yourself, because that's what's going to enable you to build out team. Because let's face it, if you're going to build out a successful business, you can't be the one who's doing all the work. You have to systemize it so that you can build team, so that you can move forward.
So true. And, I think of the things that we do, speaking of pure bookkeeping, and thank you for mentioning that, we have a community call every single month where we bring all of our licensees together and we focus on different things. It could be having someone like yourself join to give us some insights. We often do skills training and information, that sort of thing. And so in January, we have decided that you're going to come and help our entire community actually work on doing some of this work, which is really creating the vision. And I would say that I think a lot of people try to do all of this stuff by themselves.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, when are you going to sit down? Like, oh, let me go have a coffee with myself, sit down, write all these goals out, and it's all just going to magically happen. I think, if you've done that before and you haven't been successful, you could quickly go, oh, this stuff doesn't work. But we know it works, you and I, and we know that when you work with other people, it rapidly increases your chances of success. And so that's probably one of the missing pieces, because people will try to do things. It's like baking cookies, right? If you baked cookies and you didn't use baking soda, guess what? The cookies are going to be very different than if you put the baking soda in. And I think people take these formulas that they see out there, all these people talking about being successful and all this, and they're only getting a piece of the actual formula that's required to be successful. And if you don't have one of those pieces that you talked about up at the beginning, right? Systems, you have to have systems in place. You have to have the right mindset. You have to have rapid action. You have to have the right mentors. Well, if we took any one of those pieces out, you would not likely be as successful or get there as quickly. Right. So in January, one of the formula pieces is really getting clear with what you want to have happen in the year, removing your mental mind blocks or mental blocks that you have around what's possible, and then actually creating a plan for the year to make that happen. So what's exciting is you and I had a conversation just before we got onto this call. We said, why don't we invite the entire podcast community, the Successful Bookkeeper globally? Anyone can come and attend this event and do this work with you, where you're going to lead us all through this on January. So I think it's pretty cool. I love the idea, and that's why we're just going to do it. And so if you're interested in that will be a link in the show notes that you can come, and we'll send out an email. You may have got that email already, but you're going to come and do that. So Lisa, we're at step 2, is you got to really know where you want to be. And that's super important. Step 1 is time blocking. What's step 3?
Well, I just want to mention something before we go to step 3, because I just thought of this as you were mentioning that. A lot of us in this industry, we work by ourselves, right? We're very isolated. We sit behind our desk and we do our work, and we hear these sort of random things or, other things that other people are doing. And I cannot stress enough the importance of community. I mean, you have a great community going on. I have a group going on. Different people in, all in the same spot that are working by themselves, but trying to get to that higher goal. It's so important to lean into the communities that you have available, the calls that are available, the mentoring that's available, because that's what's going to help you move forward. Nobody should be trying to do this on their own.
No, I fully agree. And especially in times that we are in now, where we have become more and more isolated, working on our own, less interaction with others, we have to increase dramatically that interaction and get into the communities and participate with the communities. Left to our own devices cannot at sometimes be very good.
No, it's very isolating. It makes you think, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but it's just, how do you know where you want to go when you don't really even know what's out there? The more you lean into community and listen to other people and get, little tips and tricks from different people in that community, that's just going to help everyone so much. We rise together, right? We don't need to be isolated. We need to work together to move forward. We're upping the value of this industry in general.
Oh, absolutely. And that's reason why we want to invite our entire community to this, because we need our bookkeepers on this planet to be as successful as they possibly can and enable the industry to evolve and grow. And so without that, it isn't going to happen as fast. And, even once something as simple as saying, look, I'm thinking about doing this. Do you think that's a good idea? I mean, that question to someone else who's maybe been there or has done different things, they're going to go, hey, you know what? That is a good idea. Or I like that idea, but maybe you should add this to it.
Yep.
It can change your whole trajectory in literally 1 to maybe 2 minutes of a conversation of like, gee, I never thought of that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times in a week I'm having conversations with people just in general about life. Like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this with the house, or I'm thinking about going over there to do this. And I talk to people in my life that are great people, and they say, Michael, that's a good idea. Have you thought about doing this? Well, how about that? And I go, well, gee, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And so that's the opportunity, is when you surround yourself with great people that are going places, this is what you have access to.
Right. And it's really important, especially now, what's going on in the world with the pandemic and the businesses that are going down and the business owners that are struggling. They need people that are really close to the numbers. The whole bookkeeping community, we are the ones that understand the story that the numbers tell. And so we need to position ourselves in a way that we're actually useful to help turn this economy around by working with our clients that are business owners. We need to be able to have the time to dig a little deeper into what's going on, get away from all that transactional work, and actually be able to help our clients move forward so that they can come through this, because it's, the overall economy.
So true.
Really, really
So
important.
True.
Right. Okay, so let's get to step 3, shall we?
Beautiful.
Okay, so very important that what we do, once we've determined what our goals are for 2021, we need to reverse engineer those, because again, it doesn't just randomly happen. So if, for example, let's say by the end of 2021, I decide that I want to have, all of my clients systemized, and I want to be able to hand off to a new employee. Maybe I want to start delegating some of my checklists so that I'm not focusing so much on the day-to-day. I need to have a way to break that down. So we're going to go through that in detail when we do the training next week. But basically, you want to just, this is where I want to go. How many weeks is that going to take me to do? How many people are going to be involved in this? And what are my timelines? And then just start checking them off.
It's great. And what an exercise to do right away in 2021. Sometimes there can be resistance to doing things like this, but we're blocking out some time. We're living the message here. We're blocking out some time. It's going to be January 13th, 4 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going to do step 2, where we're going to basically define where you want to be by the end of 2021. And then we're going to take that and we're going to run you through some exercises to reverse engineer. I love that word. Reverse engineer. And create the goals, action items to know exactly what steps you need to take to actually make that happen. So in the very first business month of the year, we're going to have all of that sorted out. Where to from here?
Well, I think that the last thing I want to touch on is the fact that we need to have a plan for obstacles and setbacks, because life happens, right? You're going to set this plan up, you're going to know where you want to go, and you've done your time blocking, and then all of a sudden something happens, and people tend to get derailed, right? So they'll be working on something, and maybe they've decided, on Friday, I'm going to have 2 hours to spend working on my business. This is what I'm going to do on my business on this Friday. And then the kids get sick, or the dog, something happens to the dog, something happens, right? So we have to have a way ahead of time that we're going to manage those obstacles, or even just the fact, you've worked all day and you had a plan for, that night you were going to sit down and work for an hour on your business. And by the time you get through all the work of the day, you're exhausted and maybe you just want to, Netflix and chill for a little bit. You have to have a way to preempt how you're going to handle all of these obstacles and setbacks, because they are going to happen.
So important to have a plan for really what's inevitable. Life is going to get in the way.
Yeah, and stop kicking yourself. If something does come up, or something gets in the way, or you go off track a little bit, that's one of the things we tend to focus on when we come together in our groups, is don't kick yourself in the butt for that. Just keep moving forward, and you've got community that you can lean on to help you, sort of refocus your direction, because stuff happens. Sometimes we just, get defeated in our own right. Like we think, oh, I can't do this. It's too hard. Everybody else is doing it. Like you said at the beginning, maybe this is for other people. It's not. Everybody can do this. You just need to reverse engineer where it is you want to go and do it step by step, and make sure you have a plan for when things come up.
I love it. So we have essentially 5 steps. Can you recap for us those steps?
Sure. So number 1 is we're going to block time to make sure that we can work on our business. Step 2 is we're going to establish where it is we want to be by the end of 2021. Step 3 is reverse engineering where we're going to go so that we can turn them into action items and actually make them happen. And then actually, no, it's 4, not 5. And then the last step is going to be having a plan for obstacles and setbacks.
Okay, so we have 4 steps, and I think I misunderstood. So I thought there was another step in between. So we have 4 steps. We've got all of those down. We're going to be doing this live on January 13th. Super cool, 4 to 5 p.m. And really, at the end of that hour, what will our listener expect to get out of spending an hour with you?
Well, I'm assuming that they're going to be all in and they're going to know exactly how to set up their time blocks if they haven't done it yet. They're going to know exactly where it is they want to go by the end of 2021, and they're going to know how to break it down into actionable steps with timelines. And then we're going to talk a little bit about how we're going to overcome those obstacles and setbacks. I'll give them some, pointers, things that we've learned and things that we implement ourselves. And they should have a pretty solid plan by the time the hour's up.
I love it. This is super exciting. So I think it's going to come together wonderfully. Now, you've mentioned pure bookkeeping. You mentioned systems. This is for you has been kind of you have to have these, and you don't work with anyone that doesn't have access to the pure bookkeeping systems and processes.
Yep.
Why is that?
Because it's a game changer. It is. I have looked into different things that are out there. I mean, people will sell you workflows and they'll sell you templates and all these things. Pure bookkeeping system is the only system that is a true full-on system. It covers everything from start to finish, audit proofing and every little detail that you wouldn't even think of is inside the system. And putting that system in place is the only thing that's going to give you the ability to take that technical work out of your brain and be able to put it onto somebody else so that you can move on to whatever direction you want to go in this business. There's so many opportunities available.
Love hearing that. I mean, it's wonderful leading that community as well as the CEO of Pure Bookkeeping North America. And I always just am so grateful that we have leaders in that community that are up to doing the things that you are doing. And you've worked with dozens of bookkeeping business owners. You've helped them. You've proven that you're able to not only do it yourself, because that's what you essentially did yourself. Mm-hmm. You built a really remarkable business, and then you pivoted to doing advisory work with Profit First professionals, and then you became the founder of Profit First Canada. And so all of that stems back to having solid systems that enabled you to actually do the work and grow the business that you were passionate about.
Yeah. I can't even stress how important it is. I mean, it's just, so many people that, especially when they work on their own, their fear of bringing on team is, well, they're not going to do it the same way I do it, or, I won't be able to control what gets done, or it's, my name is on the work that's being put out there. When you implement something as solid as pure bookkeeping system, it gives you the ability to monitor all that. And that is what is going to, push you forward in a direction that, like, I didn't even know what direction I was going in. And now I have the ability to go in whatever direction I want to in this business. I can pivot along my journey because I know that the compliance work, which is the core of everything, great books are the foundation of everything in this business. It's all taken care of, and it's done consistently and properly every single time.
Love that, and thank you for sharing. Now, we have some other great news, which is in 2020, you did a master class. You did actually 2 of them, mm-hmm. I believe, in 2020. You're doing another master class towards the end of January, January 18th. Tell us a little bit about this 3rd master class. Why should people attend? And let's hear about it.
Well, it's 9 days. We're going live every single day at 4 p.m. Eastern from the 18th to the 25th. And we're going to walk through the creation of the ecosystem, which is what I said at the beginning. The ecosystem of your firm is understanding what happens intentionally from the second a person contacts you, through the onboarding, through the compliance work, until the point where they actually exit your firm, which doesn't happen very often because they love you. They love what you do. But it has to be set up in a way that's consistent. And it's what I call the ecosystem. It's very, very intentional. So we're going to walk through that at a very high level, but very in-depth. over the course of 9 days. And I can tell you the feedback that we got on the last 2 that we did was like best 9 days ever spent. I've had people walk out of there, already working on their intake processes and all this stuff that it's just a matter of let's share what we know and give people sort of a leg up and a head start on doing this for the next year.
It's remarkable. And I have heard so many people in our community talk about it. It's considered to be one of the best courses or live trainings in the industry. And it's remarkable what you created. And I think I personally look at it and I just think it's just, you're so generous with all of your knowledge. I mean, you've come onto the podcast several times to share. I mean, if I asked you any question, you're going to give exactly the answer to that question regardless. I mean, there's nothing held back. And so, Lisa, I want to thank you for that, because it's remarkable not only for our community, our podcast community, but it's also been remarkable for our community of pure bookkeeping licensees to have your guidance and your generosity. So I'm excited about it. It's January 18th. I can't think of a better place for people that truly want to transform their business, grow for themselves in 2021, have a remarkable year in 2021 than these 2 events, the January 13th, where we're going to do some planning, and then in January 18th, literally you're going to map out from the very basics of your business right through to having clients exit. I mean, it's just remarkable. Lisa, this has been absolutely fantastic. If people want to register for that, where can they do that?
They're going to go to www.accelerate2advisor.com, and it's the number 2. So accelerate2advisor.com. And there's an application form in there. Now, keep in mind, this is the accelerator method, which is Accelerate to Advisors. So it is not for new bookkeepers. It is for people who are looking to level up. They've got the experience behind them. So for people that are new that are listening, I would suggest definitely come onto that community call first and start developing your system so that by a year or 2 from now, you be ready for the next level, which is bumping up to the advisor role.
I love that. I love that. So if a person goes and registers for that, it'll guide them through whether it's a fit for them or not a fit for them.
Yes.
But for sure, everyone is invited to the January 13th event. You can register, come one, come all, tell your friends about it. This is going to be really a community gift to our podcast from you, Lisa. And so thank you for that. And we look forward to seeing everyone on January 13th. We're going to have a blast.
Oh, it's going to be awesome. It's a great year for everyone. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off again, but I'm just so excited because 2020 has really been nasty, right? So let's make 2021 the year that things actually happen.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So everyone, Happy New Year. Lisa, thank you for being on the show. And we'll see everyone either on the 13th of January, or you'll see Lisa in her masterclass program starting on January 18th. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. And of course, all of the notes that we've spoke about today, we'll have the links. We'll have the links to both of these valuable resources in the show notes. And so if you need to find that, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. And until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.